Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? In my decades of being involved with live music, very often I've run into the situation where an artist or maybe even a sound person doesn't know how to use a particular piece of equipment and problems start to arise that they cannot fix. And maybe these are just little problems that are annoying, or maybe it's big, like nothing works. And in a situation like this, nobody wins. The audience isn't getting entertained, the venue owner is probably upset, and as an artist, well, you're having a really bad day. And one of the pieces of equipment that seems to be the most common culprit in a lot of these situations over the past few years that I've noticed have been the various range of tablet-controlled digital mixers that are on the market. Say that 4 times fast. Now, before I go any further, I want to assure you, I am not just some grumpy old man that's going to tell you that analog is better and digital is crap. I love gadgets. I love gear. I love nifty new toys. That's not the point. The point is that very often these things are so complicated and have such a steep learning curve that we don't really know how to use them when we're taking them out, and we're causing ourselves and the audience problems. And I have a lot of friends. I played, in a bunch of bands as a sub bass player or the bass player, where the person that's the band leader or whatever, they own the PA and they've got one of these suckers. And I've seen them get flummoxed time and time again with a variety of them. And these are people with higher IQs than mine, which is hard. It's a little bit like MS Office. If you've used Microsoft Office, there's a ton of options in there, and sometimes it takes a long time to figure out how to find them, and then they all start kind of looking like each other. The interfaces on a lot of these units, they're like that. They all start to look about the same. There's a ton of options. There's great options in there, but the screens can look identical to one another, and you can be doing stuff and moving stuff around like, not sure, where am I? How come I'm not sending this to this monitor or whatever, because it looks like the last screen. Or you can make a mistake or set something, and now you don't know how to go back and fix it. I remember vividly sitting with a friend of mine, and fortunately we were doing a recording session and not a live gig, and we're looking at this thing, trying to figure stuff out, and I finally said, can we just hit reset? We hit reset, the problems were fixed, but all of his edits were gone, so he had to start from square one, which really kind of stunk. And a lot of bands, a lot of setups, and maybe this is you, we're doing sound for ourselves as a band. Or maybe we don't have a professional sound person coming in to help us out. We've got our friend Fred, and we tell Fred, okay, this is the vocal, and this is the guitar, and move these up and down, and let us know if it sounds good. And you've been in those situations. If you haven't been in them, you're lying, you haven't gigged very much, or you're really, really young. Which probably means you haven't gigged very much, or a combination. It happens. And so when you hand one of us, or one of them, one of these really powerful, awesome devices with all these options, and we haven't done the homework, which is extensive, to learn how to use it properly and be able to make corrections in real time, it's a recipe, or can be a recipe, for disaster. The sound guys around here, I know that use them all the time. They're great at using them, but that's it. They use them all the time. They've put in a lot of hours with these things, and they know how they work. And I talk to them, even they'll tell me sometimes, like, oh man, I just didn't know where the heck I was for a second, and I forgot which screen I was on. And some of them will tell me that, yeah, there's things that I can't do. I can't adjust faders, a bunch of faders and effects in real time, which is a different subject. But they're incredibly powerful. But you've got to use this thing all the time. They're full of cool stuff. I love cool stuff. I'd love to be able to put like compression on every track and use gates and have individual monitor mixes. And if these things are really important to you and you absolutely have to have them, then maybe something like that is the way to go. But you have to consider, like, what are your real needs? Most bands really don't need that much in terms of a PA and in terms of amplification. You have to look at, where are you playing? How many people are in your band? What do you really need? And it's not just about the expense, it's about the ability to use the equipment at the gig. And, if you can't, problems can arise. And that's just, you're shooting yourself in the foot and, getting everybody upset when that happens. If you get one of these, if you decide I have to use one of these things, start slow. Don't use a ton of the options. The options are great. Figure out how to use the channels. Figure out how to do really basic stuff that you can adjust, at the show. Without a problem, and you can do it reliably. Learn a lot of this stuff at home. You shouldn't be learning it at the gig. And imagine going to like a surgeon, or having a contractor do some really major renovations on your home, and them telling you, well, I'm not really sure how to use this tool or this new thing or this new piece of equipment. But yeah, you might have a problem for That's not exactly instilling you with confidence. So, at the end of the day, these are wonderful tools. Most of us don't need them. And, at the end of the day, I think I might have said that once, but it doesn't matter. Just, the day is still going on. Any time spent at a gig where you're not performing, where all of a sudden you're doing troubleshooting and fixing and doing anything but what you're there to do, that's getting the audience upset. It's not giving them what they want. It's not good for the venue manager, who's probably not going to like you, and it's not that good for you either.